Sylvester and Demise, thank you for joining us here at the Bentonville Film Festival in Bentonville, Arkansas. It is the 10th anniversary year, and we're here to talk about your short, Pops. I've had the pleasure and honor of watching this piece, and I can't wait to get into it more. But for the viewing audience who haven't seen it yet, what would you like them to know about the piece?
So Pops is a story centered on dementia and Alzheimer's as well. So it's about a young artist who is working on his latest piece, and he is also trying to take care of his ailing father who has dementia. Of course, trying to work and take care of a relative is extremely difficult, especially when you don't have any other individuals in the household that can help you. And so I wanted to tell a story that kind of shows the relationship and the love and bond between two family members, especially one that has to say goodbye every single day.
Excellent. And you mentioned in this one that the character Demise plays happens to be an artist. I have to ask, there's two works of art in this film. We're going to let the viewer see them, but who is the artist of, there's the painting and then there's the sketch. Who's the artist of those two pieces?
So the actual painting that he's working on, that is from a friend of mine. His name is Kirby Tolles. And when I was preparing to put this project together, I sort of made a list of all of my painter friends and said, okay, let me see who would donate to the project. And so I went by Kirby's studio, looked at a lot of his work, and I just sort of picked out one that I felt like was one that took a lot of time. And that's what Kirby told me. I asked him, how long have you been working on this particular piece? And he was like, about 8 months. And I said, yeah, let's get that one. And so, because in the story, he does say that, I've been working on this for, so many months, which shows, the dedication and hard work. And the other artwork that you see in there is by Lydell. That's my other friend as well. And we took a lot of his pieces and sort of spread them around the whole house. And then the house itself was owned by my friend Cynthia. She is an artist. She is a sculptor, painter, draws, just the whole 9 yards. When I was originally writing this script, I knew that, okay, if the main character is an artist, he needs to live in that environment. It needs to not just be 4 flat walls and, a picture on the wall. It needs to look like a place where he sleeps, eats, and breathes his passion. So Cynthia, who is that type of individual, I went to her and I said, hey, your house is everything I need. Can I please film here? And she said, absolutely. And so we had 2 days in her house to film. We basically filmed from sun up to sundown both days, and we were able to get it done.
So this was not a set designer. This is her actual personal choices, and the woman has an eye.
Yes.
So for those that do see the piece, you're going to watch it, and then you're going to want to go back, and you're going to want to slow down on some of these scenes, because it's gorgeous.
Yes, it is. And the only thing that we had to do mainly was just rearrange some stuff, kind of give it a little bit of flow. But everything was there. The easels, the brushes, and then of course you see the artwork, around the house, like everything that we needed that I didn't have to worry about, from a budget standpoint to go purchase was just already there. So that just helped greatly.
Now there's also a location vibe with this. This is definitely, to me, I'm out of Texas, but this is definitely the South. Her house looks like it's a house from the South. There's a scene with a river, which you'll have to tell us which river that is. Please tell me I'm right in vibing that this is a Southern-based, Southern roots.
Yes, absolutely. So the story was shot in Montgomery, Alabama, and the story takes place in Montgomery, Alabama. That last scene that you're referring to, that's actually the Alabama River, and we're down at the riverfront. And so, I really wanted to kind of open up the film towards the end because, we're in the house, for majority of the film. And so towards the end, there's something about wanting to put him next to the water and have this conversation, because in the film, that is a symbolic spot, because the mother, and for those who watch it, the mother has already passed away. And when the son goes to have this really tough conversation with him, he takes him back to the spot that him and his mom would always go to after church, the husband and the mother. And so the water is symbolic of calmness, of peace, because that reminds him of his wife all the time. And so for him to take him there, I just wanted to have a location that would fit that would be like, okay, what is going to really relax this man as his son, who's having the hardest time ever, to tell him this, what's going to relax the father? And the body of water is what I chose. Yeah.
And Demise, I have to ask you, have you had experience with people with Alzheimer's before, or it's just you're familiar with it from society?
Yeah, so I do have a society familiarization with it, but my dad actually passed away in 2017 from cancer. The type of cancer he had wasn't necessarily involving his brain, but the cancer was aggressive and it spread to his brain. A tumor grew, and at that point, his memory started to fade, and he would forget like a sentence he said like 1 minute ago. So I have that type of connection with it. Like seeing my father go from a superhero to his last few days, he couldn't remember the last thing he said 2 minutes ago, and his lower half of his body was paralyzed. So that type of connection made me really attached to Pops in the story.
I'm very sorry for that loss. Okay. It came through. I'm surprised to hear that you didn't have experience with. There are moments where you've shown extreme tenderness.
Thank you.
And extreme care. There's a moment involving a record getting played that is one of the most touching things I've ever seen in any film I've ever seen, and it's one of the most loving and tender moments, beautifully done. So kudos to you and your fellow cast member on that, and kudos to you on Sylvester for having this in there. What was that experience like, having to have these on a dime, instant emotions that you had to show?
So it was therapeutic, really, because I didn't allow myself to really mourn my father often. I never got a chance to say goodbye. We had a great relationship, but it wasn't growing up. We showed our love in a different type of way. So it would never have been like where I'm able to like slow dance with my dad or anything like that. So on the day of the shoot, for whatever reason, I had this extreme emotion. I had never cried over my dad that amount. I cried, go to sleep. Of course, your father passed. But when I was preparing to rehearse for that scene, just for whatever reason, he just sat down. I think he said like 3 words to me. It wasn't even anything super emotional. And I tried to respond to him, and my voice was cracking. And he was like, "Man, don't do this to me." Because I don't know if it was going to get him emotional as well. But yeah, I don't know where it came from. So that day, the emotion kind of came a little bit easier because I was kind of finally able to slow dance with my dad. And there's a scene, I won't spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. There's a spot where you see the emotion kind of pouring out of me, and I had my kind of, all I could see was the back of Pops in the films. I seen his back. So at that moment, I was really imagining my father in real life. So it was easy to kind of access those emotions.
And is there one thing you wish you had known or been prepared for going into this? Or something you'd share for someone new to doing films?
I'm not sure if there's one thing I wish I'd known that was differently. Just reading the script, I kind of did a bit of research, but I'll just say when I prepare for a character, first and foremost, I try to find my own connections with the character. If it matches me, I don't have to look any further. So I know other people deal with mental issues and like dementia, Alzheimer's, things like that. And I was just sort of proud to be able to tell this story and kind of walk in their shoes for a moment. Because I don't know, it's the way I raised. I don't really allow myself to feel those emotions in my everyday life.
Now, did the two of you know each other prior to this, or was this a casting decision that you met?
I'll tell the story.
Yeah, tell the story.
Yeah. So 12 years ago, I was just beginning as an actor. I didn't really know how to meet anyone that's making films or anything. I responded to a post he put. He was shooting a film in Alabama. I'm from Atlanta. It was a website called love2act.com. I don't think it's a thing anymore. Maybe it is. But I responded to it. I auditioned for it. I guess my audition was good. I don't know. I didn't think I was good at the time. But he liked it. I drove over to Montgomery. We shot. That was 2012. And we stayed connected after that. We kind of had a passion for like movies, video games, comic books, things like that, pop culture stuff. And so Yeah, it was a friendship built out of that, and we both are extremely passionate about filmmaking. We argue sometimes. We don't always agree, but it's like a brotherly relationship in that sense. So
some of the best moments come out of arguments.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Sylvester, for you, what brought Alzheimer's and making some awareness for the caregivers? What brought that to light for you?
So it was definitely a combination of a couple of different things. So both of my grandmothers passed away from that disease, and I was not there as some of my other family members were with them along that. But of course, the getting the updates and the news, and I did get to see my grandmother Margaret before she passed, a few months before she passed. But just seeing that, remembering how they were when you were growing up, and then kind of seeing them like this now. It's hard, man. It's so hard. Somebody that sees you as a stranger just about, and you remember when they used to get you out of bed in the morning and cook you breakfast and get you ready for school, and now here they are not even knowing who you are. That's just, that's really hard. So it was that thought of how do I tell a story that can sort of reflect what younger people have to deal with when it comes to a loved one getting not just physically sick, but mentally sick as well. And then in my professional life, I'm a police officer in Montgomery. And so there was a call that I went on a few years ago, and I just never forget. It was about 2 a.m, and this man had showed up at somebody's house, banging on the door, saying, "Hey, it's such and such here," and they didn't know who he was. And when I got there, I was a unit that responded. You could tell that something was wrong, and we didn't know it at the time, but I was sort of suspecting. I think he might have dementia. And sure enough, after an hour of being out there with him, we couldn't figure out where he lived. He didn't have any ID on him. We was trying to call hospitals, and then a woman pulls up in a car, and she says, "Hey, that's my brother." And so she gets out, and he literally in the middle of the night just got up, walked out the house, and just started walking the neighborhood. This is 2 a.m, and he didn't know who he was. He didn't know his address, anything. Thank God his sister, saw that he was gone and, found him. And of course, the house that he was knocking on, they were kind. They stayed there. They didn't overreact. They called us, and we got out there, and we were able to get him, back to his family. So it's just those things that, is like, I think we need to talk about that more, how when an elderly person gets to a certain age, young people, we have to step up. That disease is a slow dying disease, and the only thing you can do is say goodbye every day. That's just the key. You got to be able to say goodbye every day. But when your love and passion is there, you make that comfortable for them, and that's what you want. And that's what I wanted this film to do, was show that it's hard, it's tough, it's not pretty, but it's love. And if you don't have that, it's going to be even worse. So you want to focus on those.
I'm so excited for this film. You've kind of got me floored with your response. You're a very passionate person. Do you have any other projects you're working on as well, or do we have anything to look forward to coming from you? Because I like the voice you're presenting.
Yes. I guess, how do I say? Well, I guess, of course, I'm, writing stage, just writing the next piece, trying to figure out, exactly how I want to, shape things. I guess if I could say if I'm working on anything else, it is a cop drama that's centered on Gen Zs coming into the police department. So that's something that I am working on. I think that is something that is happening right now, and we have Gen Zs who are entering the criminal justice system, who want to make a change, who want things to be better, who want to question the traditional methods of how our legal system works. And I think we need to highlight that and spotlight that.
Excellent. And for those that want to see things happen for Pops, what are the socials? How do they follow? How do they support? How do they help you get this message out there?
Yeah, I'll say just hit me up on Instagram. Right now, the film itself is making a festival run, so we're trying to get it to play as many cities as possible. But at some point, the run will end, and then I'll just pretty much put it online. But in the meantime, as far as just keeping up with what's going on with the film and my projects, Instagram, just Sylvester K, folks, and just follow me on Instagram, and that's just the fastest way.
And Demise, how do we follow you and see where we can find you and help get you onto the big screen and homes all across the world?
Similarly to him, type in Demise Harp. Looks like Demise, so Demise Harp. Just type that in Google even, and all of my socials will come up. Instagram, Twitter, now X, I suppose. So yeah, just hit me up and speak to me.
Well, I thank you both for joining me today, and I wish all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great interview. You take care.
Yeah.